Well, Professor Mary Metcalf is an education expert with the University of Johannesburg. She's joining us by Skype tonight from Johannesburg to talk about this. Prof, evening, always good to have you on. So the unions say they're going to court, Sadtu specifically, to stop the rewriting of the leaked papers. The Basic Education Department says that's in the interest of securing and maintaining the credibility of the exam process. Is this the best way to resolve this?
It's a difficult issue. Firstly, it's a massive disappointment to everyone. It's a disappointment to the learners. It's a disappointment to the teachers and to the officials. And for the teachers and officials, it represents a considerable disruption to their plans. And our teachers and our officials have already worked beyond the call of duty, and in my view, they're very burnt out. So I understand the representatives of teachers saying this is not on. However, what is different about the exam leakage this year is that in previous years, it's been able to, when there has been a leakage, it's been physical distribution of a paper. And it's been easy to relatively easy to identify the area affected. What we know from what the minister has said is that this year, it's an electronic leakage. People are distributing the paper on, for example, WhatsApp or other electronic media. That's a completely different ballgame. That is something that can go viral very quickly. So the DBE and the Umalusi have taken a decision that it's unfair to learners who did not have access to the paper and should not have, to be writing the same paper that we don't know how many other learners have had sight of. So I think they have made the right decision, but I do understand the frustration of teachers that this means that the limited time that markers will have for a break has been further disrupted. Schools will have to continue past the time that they should have closed. So it's a great disappointment to everyone.
So should Sadtu then emerge victorious in the battle to scrap the rewriting of these exams, what other options are available to the Basic Education Department?
Well, it would mean that those learners who have written the papers that have been leaked, which is Maths Paper 2 and Physical Science Paper 2, many of those learners are going to, if Sadtu succeeds, many of those learners are going to feel that perhaps they haven't had a fair chance to compete. They haven't had a fair chance to perform relative to other learners who did have access to the paper. And that's a sense of injustice that they will carry with them.
But is there,
next year.
Forgive me, Prof, is there any solution in a situation such as this that would actually be pleasing to all, be it the Basic Education Department, the teacher unions, and the pupils themselves? Because some people were saying, for example, why not maybe agree on an aggregate mark for the Maths Paper 2 and Physics Paper 2? But in that instance, I don't even know if it's possible, but you'd have people who say, well, I'm an 80% pupil, so why should I have to get an average score, for example?
Well, firstly, this is a very high stakes paper. Both of these papers are very high stakes for admission to some degrees. If one looks at the high levels of competition for admission to degrees in the sciences and medicine, the value of the percentage differences can make a difference to learners being accepted into a course or not. And that's why the sense of injustice may persist if we can't stand by the integrity of the exam results. In terms of solutions, I think that we need to say to our teachers, we hear the frustration. We know that you've gone beyond the call of duty for the whole of the year. We hear how frustrating this is for you. And I think that is something that we need to be communicating to school management teams and to teachers. But what the courts will rule, I'm not certain.
Any thoughts?
I am certain.
Sorry, Prof,
Yeah.
Please finish your point.
No, just saying I am certain that we have to maintain the integrity of the exams, and the extent of the leakage nobody has any way of knowing. I can send a WhatsApp to 100 people. 100 people can send it to another 100 people.
And the issue with the leaking of the exams is that it is being done by people. Any thoughts then on what the basic education department can do to get ahead of this so that we are not back here in 2021 and years in future?
We have to keep looking at security of the exams. I know that the DBE and Umalusi are extremely vigilant about this. The question of electronic leakage just changes the ball game. I think that we need to be saying to learners, it is criminal to even participate in such distribution. There was a report in the press, and that's my only source of this information, that it's in fact the high succeeding, high attaining learners who've had the access. That's because of the high levels of competition. Any collusion with the criminality of leaking papers undermines not only the integrity of the exams, but the well-being of the whole class of 2020. This is very hard on them. They thought they were finished. They thought they were to be finished. And now they have to change their plans, gear themselves up again to be ready to write. It's morally wrong. That's the message we need to send to learners, to their families, to community, to everyone. This is not fair.
Professor Mary Metcalf for the University of Johannesburg. Always good to speak to you, ma'am. Thank you.